Hey mamas, and welcome to the Entering Motherhood podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Marie Bilger, a wife, mom of two, VBAC mama, and doula. Join us every episode to learn from professionals, special guests, and moms just like you, ensuring that you know what you need to know and discover things that you didn't know before. I believe in you. Let's doula this, and let's navigate the transition of entering motherhood together. Hey mama, this is another episode of the Entering Motherhood podcast. This specifically is a Doula Talk episode, which if you don't know, we go live on Instagram every Tuesday around 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And by we, I mean me and Katelyn, who is the co-creator of our signature Own Your Birth childbirth education course. Please go look at that if you are looking for a childbirth education course. It's our signature Own Your Birth self-led online comprehensive course, and it is just packed with all the information that you will need to be able to feel informed and empowered as you navigate this stage of pregnancy and leading into birth and even the postpartum period. So we are so excited about that course, and we have been chatting and having these doula talks to provide you with more information to really own your birth and have information that maybe you didn't know or refresh your memory on things like that. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you ever have any topics that you feel like you would want to add or hear, if you have any questions, then please reach out to us and let us know so that we can include it in these episodes and in these conversations that we are having for you to really feel informed and empowered. So let's get this episode started. Hello, welcome to our Doula Talk on Tuesdays. I'm super excited to be here and be chatting with everyone and talking to you. We'll have her join, and we are talking about early pregnancy symptoms today and what that might look like and what kind of things you might be going through and how you might be feeling. So it looks like Katelyn. Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Hello. We are
How's it going?
here.
Yeah.
Say Doula Talk. I was just saying, like we're going to be talking about early pregnancy symptoms and what that might look like and feel like. And obviously, it can be different for everybody, but sometimes there's like very common things that are happening and going on even before you are able to, take a pregnancy test, if you're choosing to take a pregnancy test or what the situation is that you're going through. So, yeah. So do you want to kind of start? We can talk about like our own symptoms that we had, like what we've noticed. I feel like, we typically are with our clients after they already have found out and they're, announcing and they're telling us they're looking for support. So we don't typically get to like experience that and like go through those things with our clients, but we've both been there multiple times. So.
Yeah. Actually, we did get to go through that together.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. We were planning on meeting before I found out I was pregnant with Naomi. And so then when I took the test, I was like, oh, this is sooner than I thought. But anyway, yes, I can start. So for me, with both of my pregnancies, I'm like one of the fortunate ones who is not nauseous, and I'm so thankful for that, but it is so common to be super nauseous in the beginning. So, just know if that's you, it's okay. There's nothing really wrong necessarily. It's just a really common thing that happens. But I think where nausea really gets to be a problem is when you can't keep anything down. And if that's the case, like it's all day long, you just are so nauseous, you can't keep anything down, you just throw it right back up. You need to talk to your OB, your midwife, whoever you're going to, because, that's when something might be needed. But for me, my biggest thing was like the fatigue. Man, that first trimester fatigue, especially with Naomi, was just awful. And I just remember when I was pregnant with Naomi, I was like, I could just sleep all day long.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that
but
usually is like one of the first things, like you just like feel so drained and tired,
yeah.
and that's not even anything that you can kind of fix or alter. Like obviously, you can be like keeping up with like your fluids and like
Mhm.
nutrition and things like that, but like sometimes it's just going to hit you, and that's perfectly normal because there's so
Yep.
many things going on and there's so much changing.
Yep.
And so you kind of just have to know that this is why and this is what's
Yep.
going on. But in our course too, like we also talk about like the bloody show, and like you can have like spotting and stuff
Mhm.
going on, and you think that you're getting your period, but you are absolutely still pregnant. And so I think
Yes.
it's like little things like that, for me, when I was pregnant with Rosie, we had taken a pregnancy test and it was just a little too early. So mine with both of my kids, I had to wait, like even taking the tests that are like 6 days earlier, like than your missed period, I had to wait until after my missed period to really
Mhm.
determine that I was pregnant.
Yeah.
And I even was like spotting and everything, and I just, thought, "Oh, I'm getting my period, like it didn't happen this time." And, with both of them, I was sure enough, like I was pregnant.
Yeah.
So, I think it's like some of those things, like even taking the pregnancy test, if you're testing too early, it's not
Mhm.
like a guarantee.
Yeah.
And if you're feeling it, if you're like, no, I definitely think that I'm pregnant, like I would rely on that and your
Mhm.
intuition and like how you're feeling and what's going on
Yeah.
so much more than like anything that's showing like on a P test.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, you know, I think spotting is something that is so stinking common, and it's so scary. Because I actually spotted and, like, bled, like, hardcore bled with both of mine, and both times I was like, "I'm having a miscarriage. That's it, like, my baby's just gonna be gone." But both of them are here, both of them are perfectly fine little humans, but it's so scary,
Hmm.
and but yes, like, going back to that, like, mama's intuition and stuff, like, you have that so early, and, if you're just getting negative after negative and you're like, "But, like, I know something's going on," you can go and get pregnancy tests, like, get tested other places too. You could ask for, like, a serum pregnancy test at, like, your OB or midwife or whoever. They can usually do what's called a serum pregnancy test, and what that is where they draw a little bit of blood and they spin it down to where it's just, like, the clear part of the blood, and then they test that. It's kinda like the same process as peeing on a stick, it's just with your blood instead of pee.
Yeah.
And those tend to be more accurate too, and you can test that earlier and get a more accurate answer.
And
We
I
do that a lot
feel
in
like, like waiting too, like I think everybody's like always in such a rush of like, oh, like it's immediately like time of,
Mhm.
missing my period, like I have to take a test immediately. And it's kind of like one of those things like you'll know eventually that you're pregnant
Yeah.
and that you're having a baby.
Yeah.
And so it's like one of those things of like, waiting it out maybe and
Mhm.
just seeing, like what other symptoms you have.
Mhm.
I know like for me, like breast tenderness was always something like right away.
Mhm.
I just had so much sensitivity. Like I just felt already like so much sensation
Mhm.
there and like that was going on. And yeah, I mean like we talked about nausea and just
Mhm.
like other things that are happening, different smells can
Yeah.
be like super early, like really just
Mhm.
heightened senses, food aversion,
Mhm.
sensitivity to smell. You're just kind of going through all of the things and your body is just,
Yeah.
responding in the way that it should be
Yeah.
and
And
it can just be
something
yeah.
else that I think can be really scary, but is also fairly normal is cramping. And it's not like, painful cramps, but like just little light cramping. And that can be really common, especially like right after you get a positive pregnancy test or right before, because the baby's getting good and like implanted into the uterus. And so that can cause some cramping sometimes.
Yeah.
A good rule of thumb usually is, like, if you're cramping and bleeding, then it's good to, be seen and just make sure everything's okay, But again, that happened with me, with Solomon, my firstborn, and, you know, he's perfectly fine. So, it's definitely still it's scary, but it's definitely still possible to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think it's like when it's your first, I feel like we're like so super heightened on every
Mhm.
little, change and adjustment. And
Yeah.
we might want to, jump to go see somebody or figure something out, or you're in that Google spiral of
Yeah.
like, what does this mean? What is this feeling? Like you're having all different, even like constipation and stuff. Your body's already
Mhm.
starting to, slow down and adjust and go through like what it needs to be going through. But you could be like, this isn't normal for me. And it's like,
Yeah.
well, your body is going through something different. You have a baby inside of you.
Yeah.
And so like I think it's just like understanding that like there's gonna be changes, there's gonna be differences,
Mhm.
but most of the time it's just kind of working its way through and it's going through the motions and it's just a matter of kind of like releasing and relaxing, like kind of how we were talking about last week and
Yeah.
letting go like a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
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 Which is hard. Like first time
Yes.
parents, like first pregnancy, like you want everything to be, good and you want to make sure you're doing it all right and it's hard
Mhm.
to really like, not be able to know when it's all happening internally and we can't,
Yes.
visually see it. But I think it's like such a good opportunity and time to really start, tuning into your intuition and feeling
Mhm.
your body and seeing like what's happening, just at that like very like sub level
Yeah.
of hey, like I'm feeling all these different things, but like what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure. And I think also it's a great like way to work on your mindset a little bit too, because, when you're having all these symptoms that are a little less than ideal usually, you're like, oh, this is so inconvenient. Like, I hate this so much. Why can't I just like feel like myself again? But it's also one of those things, like, the subtle ways that your baby's just like, "Hey, mom, I'm here."
Yeah.
Like, "Hey, mom, this is still me, like, hanging out in here. I know you can't see me yet, you can't really feel me yet, but I'm still here." So, like, as hard as it is to be throwing up every morning or to just be so tired you can't lift your head up, you know,
Yeah.
just take it as your baby is just giving you that reassurance that they're still there even when you can't feel them yet, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Are there any other, like symptoms or things that like you've personally had or like ones that clients have had that are kind of maybe like out of the ordinary, but like could still be completely normal? It's just, I think it's like
yeah.
also like if you're the first of your friends that are getting pregnant and you don't have anybody to really talk to
Mhm.
about these things and you don't know, like I said, I mean, Google can be great, but it can also like tell you so many different things that are
Yeah.
very untrue or just like the
Mhm.
very extreme side of like what you might be feeling.
Yeah.
Like it'll be like, oh, you're cramping. Oh, it's a miscarriage.
Yeah.
And so like it's kind of just like taking what you Google with like a grain of salt and like, finding a doula and talking to us and chatting about like what different things are going on. And I think a lot of the times it's all these like super heightened emotions and
Mhm.
things that are going on. And on the flip side, you could literally feel nothing, have no symptoms,
Mhm.
not even know that you're pregnant for weeks. And so
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where like we're all different, we're all unique, we're all on our own, journey going through this.
Yeah.
And just remember that like you are an individual and you are like a unique situation and just, listen to your body and feel what it's feeling and be patient waiting for like those weeks between conception and actually finding out and
Yeah.
yeah, it's a whole mix of things.
Yeah. The patience will save you a lot of money. I will say that. Um, but yeah, no, I think that's really one of the biggest things is, like, in this time, it's so hard to, find the good in it sometimes. I mean, yeah, you're pregnant, you have a baby, that is amazing, but, outside of that, it's really easy to get in your head, and, just taking that time to be like, "Okay, I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait this out. I'm going to, focus on the good, which is I have this little life inside of me and what a miracle that is. And, just trying to like focus on that because it's also one of those things like those negative pregnancy and birth stories, they started early, man. And so, just going ahead and finding that like center space where you're like, "Nope, I'm not dealing with that." Going ahead and setting those boundaries early, going ahead and doing all of that. And also, it's a great time to go ahead and start, like, planning out how you want your pregnancy, birth, and postpartum to go. Like, we
Yeah.
have that birth vision planner. It's definitely not too early to start taking a course. Like, our course covers the first trimester pretty extensively.
Mhm.
And, it can definitely help you navigate through some of those
Yeah.
early pregnancy feelings and, set you up for a really good rest of your pregnancy. So it's definitely not too early to be doing any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's ever too early to be
Yeah.
doing that stuff, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. And I think it's just one of those things like the more information you know, like the more you're equipped with and the more, you can make very informed decisions and decide what choices you want and how
Mm,
you want to proceed. I was recently talking to somebody about ultrasounds and like
mm,
the impact of ultrasounds.
yeah.
And it's one of those things like, 30 years ago, they were doing maybe one ultrasound if there was
Mm,
something, unique or concerning. And now it's like people are getting like routine ultrasounds and sometimes like multiple ultrasounds before they're even 12 weeks. And it's one of
mhm.
those things where it's just like we don't know the impacts of that yet. And we
Yeah.
don't know, like even how you were saying like blood work or anything like that, like obviously like if it's just coming from us, like it's more like external, but there's like an intensive testing sometimes done
Mhm.
before baby's even born. And it's kind
Yeah.
of like, okay, like why are we doing this? Why are we, concerned about this and how
Mhm.
does this affect our pregnancy? And so like even being able to make like those decisions and knowing all of the, benefits, risks, and everything associated with it rather than just like blindly going through it. I think it's really important to be able to know, what's happening to your body and how it's happening
Mhm.
and how it's affecting you. So,
Yeah.
learn those things and understand it
Mhm.
because even though it could seem like very minimal now and oh, everybody's doing it. There's even like
Mhm.
the 3D ultrasounds and like the things that you can have done. And it's like
Yeah.
it's great. It's fine if that's what you want, but I just hope that like people are informed and aware of all of the things that are happening and occurring when we're making these decisions.
Excuse me. Yes. Yes, 100%. And there was something I was working on something the other day, and it was something about mindset and, like, advocacy, but I wrote out and I love it, but I wrote out, "Saying no does not make you a bad patient. It makes you a good mama." And, like, I wrote that out and I was like, "Wow, I like that." But
Mm.
it really does, and I feel like we get, like, this negative thing about it when it's like, "Oh, well, they say no." We're just saying no all the time. Like, the doctors don't like that or whoever doesn't like that. But it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, they're not the ones pregnant. They're not the ones that are gonna be raising this little baby and dealing with anything that comes about or, whatever. So, if you don't want something, if something truly just doesn't sit right with you, you've done your research, whatever, even if what you're saying doesn't really make sense with what the research says, but your intuition's telling you, go with it. Say no or say yes, like however you want to go about it, whatever you feel
Yeah.
good with, and go with it because
Yeah.
ultimately that's your baby, not theirs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And I feel like, like that's how our course is set up. That's how it's designed. It's called Own Your
mm,
Birth
yeah.
because like we want you to feel like you are in control, that you have ownership, that you are
Mhm.
making the decisions. And, we want to give you the information, but also lead you down a way of you're feeling confident to make those choices and you
Yes.
feel good and optimistic about, the path that you're following and the route that you're going on because
Yes.
you are, the one giving birth. Like, you're the one
Mhm.
having your baby, birthing your baby, being the mother of your child. And so
Mhm.
we really want to, give that ownership. We're not telling you like how to have a baby or what to do or what to look like. It's really like we're giving you the information and we're helping you feel more empowered to be able to make whatever decisions
Yes.
you want moving
Yeah.
forward. And we, fully support any and all, choices and ways. We just want you to be informed about what it is and what you're
Yep.
doing and how it's happening.
Yep. Yep. For sure. For sure. That's our goal 100%. We don't want to tell you what to do because there's enough people out there that'll do that. We want to give you the information and then you be able to say, this is what feels good for me.
Right.
And then go from there because that's what's going to give you an empowered and positive birth story at the end and lead you into a good postpartum state, you know? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. Drop your pregnancy symptoms below and how you were
Yeah.
feeling and what was going on. Share a little bit of your story so that other mamas can look at that and see like, oh yeah, I felt that too, or I'm feeling this. Maybe I am pregnant, or just whatever it is. Like, we want this to be a space of community,
Yeah.
and we want to be very interactive, and we love and appreciate everybody that comes on here and chats with us and uses this space and time and opportunity to really make it what it is.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank y'all so much. And remember, if you have topics that you want to hear us talk about, put them in the comments. Please, please, please.
All right. Well, bye, Katelyn. Bye, mamas.
Bye.
Thank you, mamas, so much for listening. Remember, you are a rock star. I believe in you. Let's doula this. Let's crank it up a notch and let's kick it into high gear together. Hit that subscribe button, share this episode with a friend, message me, email me, call me, beat me. You know how to reach me. We're doing this, mamas. I am so excited to catch you here next week. This is your one-stop go-to place for helping you find the resources you need to make the best choices for you and your family during pregnancy, birth, and most importantly, postpartum. See you later, mamas.